Good evening. As you know, there was a horrible crime in Burlington this morning. 2 people are dead, and a third has serious, life-altering injuries, but is currently alive in stable, although critical, condition. I offer my and this department's deep sympathies to 2 families in their bereavement and to their friends and loved ones. And I offer fervent hopes for the recovery and the well-being of the living victim and strength to her family and friends in the days ahead. These 3 people are also connected to communities here in Burlington and at the University of Vermont, communities that are very important parts of our city and will naturally feel shock and grief and possibly fear. And I want to try to dispel some of that by sharing what we currently know. 2 people are deceased. They are Kayla Noonan, 22, from New Jersey and a student at UVM, and Michael Dixon, 27, from New Hampshire, but we believe that he grew up here in the Burlington area and was also a student at UVM. A third person was critically injured, and for the sake of describing this this incident, I will call her CR, which are not her initials. She is at the University of Vermont Medical Center with family members in attendance. So at approximately 02:20 hours this morning, on Monday, July 25th, 2022, we received a number of calls about the sound of gunfire at a residence on North Winooski. Officers responded rapidly. Officers were actually at the door, able to speak with the living victim, CR, while that victim was also on the phone with our dispatch. Officers were not able to gain immediate entry into the location. They attempted to do so by force and ultimately had to break a window in a door in order to open that door. Inside, they observed Mr. Dixon and Ms. Noonan dead. They observed that CR was alive but very close to death. Officers cleared that scene so that other first responders could work, and members of the Burlington Police Department and the Burlington Fire Department saved CR's life. CR is alive today because of work that was done by these cops and the way we train with our rescue partners for critical incidents like this, and I am very, very proud of the work that they did. They secured that scene with great assistance from officers at the University of Vermont Police Department. We processed the scene as the day went on with assistance from the Vermont State Police. And you saw the great resources that they brought to bear at the scene. Again, we brought those assistance resources in because, frankly, our ID unit, which does our crime scene investigation, our evidence collection, is maxed out. We needed the extra assistance from the Vermont State Police in this matter. Not necessarily because of the scope or the scale of this crime, which is horrific with regard to our community and its impact, but is actually relatively self-contained from an investigatory and evidence collection standpoint. The scene, based on the evidence and the evaluation and on-scene statements that were made by CR, which we feared at the time would be dying declaration statements based on her condition, give us a scenario of what happened. We believe that Mr. Dixon attempted to break down a door at the location where Ms. Noonan and CR were staying. We believe that he was unable to get through that door and ultimately broke through a window instead and entered through that window. He possessed an AR-15 rifle at the time. He shot and killed Ms. Noonan. He shot and wounded CR, and then he shot and killed himself. This is an ongoing investigation. We are in the earliest stages of it, and that includes determining the backgrounds of the people who are involved. That includes processing a lot of evidence that has been collected, and then doing continual evidence collection beyond what was done at the physical scene today. And that will include cell phones and other kinds of communications, anything that we can find to discover the why. Although the why may ultimately be elusive, it often can be. What we have right now is the what, and I'm hopeful that sharing that with you and with the community can alleviate some of the concerns that we naturally and understandably fear around an event like this.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to add just a few thoughts to the chief's report. This morning's murder and attempted murder of 2 young women was a terrible act of violence, among the very worst the city has seen in the last decade. Our thoughts right now are very much with the surviving victim as she battles to recover at the University of Vermont Medical Center. As you just heard, when I received the initial reports early this morning, we feared that we would lose her too, and we are encouraged by the news that her situation has stabilized. We wish her and her family great strength during this time. The city also offers its deepest condolences to the family and friends of Kayla Noonan, and we also offer deep condolences to the family and friends of Michael Dixon, who did have local roots. The lives of these three families have been forever changed by this tragedy. The UVM community will also greatly be impacted by it, and it is further heartbreaking to know that the suspect was a Burlington High School student a decade ago. As you just heard, the BPD and our partners in the state police are in the early stages of this investigation. We're committed to a full and accurate accounting of what happened and to finding any lessons that can be learned from this terrible tragedy. What we know already is that this incident is another awful reminder that Burlington is not immune to the steep increases in gun violence that the country is experiencing, and that as a result of our disastrous gun laws, Americans are vastly more likely to have to endure terrible tragedies like this than the residents of any comparable nation.